Global DTC subscribers, that's direct to consumer. This is HBO Max, folks. Global subscribers increased 1.1 million in the quarter to 96.1 at the end of Q4 versus 95 million at the end of Q3, helped in part by the relaunch of HBO Max on Amazon. If you remember, HBO and Amazon kind of parted ways, and then they got back together. They figured out we can find a way to make this work, which is good. I think they obviously came to some amenable solution. But you look at that and you think, well, that's not a lot of growth for HBO Max. Well, no, compared to some of its peer groups, certainly not. But one of the things that's great about HBO Max, they've had a very, very slow, steady, solid growth in DTC in the last few years. And it's great to talk about how a Disney or a Netflix added 11 million subs in a quarter, or they added 20 million subs in a quarter at some point during 2020 and early 2021, especially with Netflix. That's all great, but a lot of that tends to be flash in the pan. The one thing with HBO Max I find is that when people actually do sub to the service, it seems like to me, based on the constant growth rate trajectory they have, that their subs tend to be a lot more sticky. Meaning, I don't think there's as much churn there. People are going to commit to making a $15 a month or $16 a month, whatever it is now, buy for HBO Max, or $10 a month if you're doing the ad-based tier. I think they're generally sticking with it. And I'll be honest with you, once people find out the massive, high-quality library of content that they have, they stick. Especially when you have big popular shows on there like House of the Dragon and stuff like this. And they got a lot of new stuff coming, and I know they want to get more things in there. Harry Potter is coming. We are hearing now, and guess what? I'm going to take a little grift on this. I told y'all so. I told you so last week in the video that I did on Hogwarts Legacy. The success that game had, the fact that CEO Zaslav, in a prior earnings call 3 months ago and 6 months ago, as a matter of fact, as well, stated quite unequivocally that he wanted to, quote, work with J.K. Rowling, that is, for more Harry Potter. And with the huge success of Hogwarts Legacy, I told you last week, that is where Zaslav's going next. He's going to take that game, and if he doesn't turn that into something, a TV show or a film, I thought maybe movies or something, I'd be shocked. Well, what did we hear in the last 24 hours? There's rumors now circulating that David Zaslav is looking to greenlight into production, get something moving in development ASAP based on Hogwarts Legacy. Told you. There was no doubt. You have a video game that launches out of the gate like that, and that's the IP that you're desperately trying to reboot. It's right there. It's right there. The story's already written. The characters are basically already written. Everything is there. Adapt it to a TV show or a film. It's right there. Obviously, I don't know if they'll go beat for beat with it, but in any case, told you so. But there you go. HBO Max, great. Added 1.1 million. Is it blowing the doors off anything once again? No. But that's okay. So again, total DTC subscribers went up to 96.1 million. Now, when people think about like Disney especially, they think of Disney Plus, and they talk about having 200-something million subscribers now. Remember, a lot of that includes things like Hulu, ESPN Plus, and then there's a lot of Disney Plus Hotstar in there, which I think Hotstar in India, that is almost 50,000 or 50 million subscribers all by its lonesome self. So when you look at this is straight HBO Max. Most of those figures are from what Disney would consider core subs, meaning not like the really, really super cheap areas. India's revenue per user for Disney Hotstar is like 70 cents per month per user. That's the ARPU. That's their net income from it. 70 cents per month. That includes the membership subscription fee. That includes advertising revenue. It's very paltry. So when Disney had a net loss of 2.6 million subscribers for their DTC that they announced a few weeks ago, all of those losses came from India. They lost a few million in India due to the loss of the IPL, the Cricket League contract, which, as I continue to remind folks, Disney still has the broadcast rights in India to the IPL. They merely gave up the streaming rights because they didn't want to pay $3 billion for the broadcast rights and another $3 billion for streaming. The broadcast rights over there have a much bigger footprint than do the streaming rights. That may not be the case in 5 years, but it is the case right now. So in any case, let's see. DTC subscribers, here we go. Average revenue per user, $10.83. That is double what Disney Plus has. So if you took the aggregate revenue for HBO Max and the aggregate revenue for Disney Plus, the 100 million subscribers for HBO Max, in other words, is producing roughly the similar revenue to what Disney Plus is getting with 200 million subs. You see where that's going? Okay? It's not just about how many subscribers you got. And what have you guys heard me complain about so many times here on Valiant Renegade, that for years, the market, the analysts, the trades, everybody was chasing the almighty subscriber number, when at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything if it's not profitable. Who cares if you have 200 million subs and you're still losing $1 billion a quarter like Disney? There you go. I mean, it's as simple as that. That's in the core. That's domestic. Even Disney's domestic, that's about double Disney's domestic or close to it. International, global ARPU 758. Disney's global ARPU, if memory serves, was somewhere around 4. So again, we're getting close to a 2x there in terms of average revenue per user. But if you look here, look at the actual adjusted total 2022 here, for the 3 months ended, $217 million loss for HBO Max in that quarter, for DTC in total, compared to Disney's $1 billion. You see the problem? That's the difference. I'm not going to sit here and, we're not celebrating the fact that HBO is losing money on HBO Max. All these streaming services, with the exception of like a Netflix, is having that problem. It's a very expensive thing to operate and manage. Not to mention, creating all the content that you're dumping on there. Disney, one of the reasons that Disney, I think, has such a problem is because they have sacrificed so much of their post-theatrical window. Disney absorbs everything onto Disney Plus. We saw them absorb, 3 or 4 Pixar films that didn't even reach theaters in the last 12 to 18 months right onto Disney Plus. Disney Plus is effectively buying out those losses for those studios by having them not go to theaters. HBO's managing it far better, apparently. Or I should say Warner is managing it far better, at least on the surface. And again, cursory glances here, right? Looking at this for the first time as everybody else is.
On direct-to-consumer, we are making meaningful progress on our goal to achieve real profitability in streaming, a key and powerful segment of our company. We brought our losses down considerably and are even more confident in the financial targets we laid out a few quarters ago.
And we showed that before the call, for those of you who came in late.
$500 million year over year to $200 million in Q4. Supported by 1.1 million net sub adds in the quarter. And most importantly, we saw improvement across key KPIs. More on this from Gunnar in a minute, but I'm pleased with the trend line we see in Q1, particularly as we are managing towards close to break-even segment EBITDA in the quarter. Consistent with what we told you last August, we are getting ready to launch our combined streaming service here in the U.S. in a few months.
So they're close to break even.
With Latin America to follow later
DTC
this year,
right
and
now?
markets in EMEA and
This
APAC
quarter?
in 24. The product will offer compelling content for every member of the household, SVOD and ad-light tiers, and a significantly enhanced product platform to drive better performance, improved user experience, and stronger engagement. We're excited about the upcoming launch of the enhanced product and look forward to sharing more details at a press event on April 12th. In the meantime, we completed a new distribution agreement that puts HBO Max back on Amazon Prime Video channels. And on the traditional side, we renewed agreements representing 30% of our U.S. affiliate revenues. And we're able to align our networks on a coterminous basis with these distributors. We also signed fast content deals with Roku and Tubi, adding to these popular platforms hundreds of our TV shows and movies, while maximizing the reach and overall value of our content. It's working.
Stuff that nobody was watching on HBO Max to begin with.
Are hard at work, putting their unmatched creative stamp
we'll make
on
money
our
with
future
it.
slate.
No, I was just going to say that, as David has said before, I think the industry obviously was at a scale at any cost. We said starting last August, we believe in profitable scale.
Thank you.
The industry was in a quantity of content over quality. We believe in a quality over quantity.
Looking at you, Netflix and Disney.
Spend-wise, spend needs to get rationalized. And at the end of the day, the consumer is at a point in time where they want more choice and better breadth of choice from fewer services because they just don't have either the share of wallet to be able to spending on 5, 6, 7 services anymore. And so you put the Discovery Plus and HBO Max proposition together at a great value, and we think we deliver something that ultimately has something for everybody in the household, which will help us on scale and help us on churn, which are the two major ingredients we're focused on, as well as obviously engagement.
That's it. They want to make sure that they have one of the 3 services that you can't live without, period, in a story, and you will pay whatever they charge.
Out there. But curation, creating content at a time when people can watch it, creating a community conversation. If you look at The Last of Us, it was growing every week. Euphoria. To be able to deliver, 20, 30, 35 million people in America watching.
But no, I found it interesting. They kept going back in this earnings call, speaking of streaming content, minding costs, not putting anything out till it's ready. We're not going to be like everybody else where it's just like a spending orgy for anything and everything out there. And that's when I was like, looking at you, Disney and Netflix. Because you have Zaslav going out there bragging about actual numbers like 35 million people watched the first episode of The Last of Us. Now, mum was the word if that was probably from the global audience. But remember, there's not that much HBO exposure outside of the U.S. compared to in the U.S., especially when you combine HBO Max versus HBO linear broadcast through your cable or satellite TV provider. Usually they're quoting those numbers that are like North American-based numbers. So that's a lot. Where's the numbers from Disney on things like Book of Boba Fett or any Marvel movie or Andor? You never hear them come out on an earnings call. Andor had 30 million unique viewers on the first episode. I've never heard Disney on a single earnings call brag about a single Disney Plus show to date.
I wonder,
except maybe Mando.
Definitely.
And I don't mean the movies. I'm not talking about the movies, y'all. Not the movies.
Did they ever say anything about the attempt to put it on Hulu and FX and Freeform and all of that over Thanksgiving? I don't think they did.
No.
And that would have been mentioned. That was November 20th, was it, that they had the earnings call? The November earnings call?
November 8th, actually.
Okay.
Yes. November 8th. It was on because it was on election day. I remember we were joking. And then November 20th was the doom day for one Mr. Chapek.